Hello lovely family and friends, a warm welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well by God's grace. So today is the day 4 of 12 days of Christmas, okay? And I want to share with you how you can make your chips and freeze it and use it at a later date, okay? So this is very, very simple and I'll walk you through it. So join me and I'll show you how it's done. But before then, don't forget to like this video. If you like it, the video goes a long way. Thank you. So we start by preparing our dough. So I have my flour. I'm adding some baking powder, some nutmeg, some salt, and a little teeny weeny bit of baking soda, bicarbonate of soda. Okay, and I've added this is the salt, the savory one. Okay, so I've added some butter to it. All right, okay, I'm going to be putting all the measurements in the description box for you. Okay, so I want to say here that when you're making this is how, because we're going to be freezing it, right? Okay, you need to reduce the fat content, the butter content, and when you have mixed it, this is how it should look like. Okay, so it should look like, loose like this, so that when you can form it into a contour like for anything blue, so like when you contouralize any food, you can also break it easily. What I say? That's what I mean. I'm adding a blend of garlic and onion, okay? So I've blended that together and I'm using that to bring the flour together to form a dough, okay? So yes, if it's not enough, you can just add a little bit of water until you get one dough, okay? So when that is done, I will set that aside and then we'll also make the sweet one, the achomo. So for that, I'm adding my flour. I'm going to add some sugar because it's the sweet one, okay? I'm adding some milk powder. This is Nido. Nutmeg, okay? Some baking powder, a little teeny wee bit of bicarbonate of soda, and some salt, okay? So here my nutmeg, was like lumpy, so I was just breaking it up, okay? It's better for you to sieve it all, then it all breaks up. And then you add butter. With this one, I'm going to add oil. I'm going to add one egg to it. By adding the egg to it, it makes the dough or this mixture very, very rich, okay? And because we're going to be frying it, also the consistency should be like the first one, should be loose like that, so that you can form contour with it. What you say? You can. So I'm adding some water to my egg and I'm mixing it and I'll add it. Okay, so I'm going to show you the proper way we make the achomo in Ghana. That will be in a different recipe. But when I was making this, I wanted it to be very rich. This is how I like my achomo. But the original one, you don't add egg to it and you reduce the butter. It's a bit harder. Mine is not going to be very, very crunchy. It's going to be sort of a bit crumbly, very nice, and I don't know how to explain it actually, but it's not going to be grill. It's going to be grill. A soft grill. So with this, we just use water to bring the dough together. You don't need anything, water and of course the egg to bring the dough together. And that one is also done. It is very easy. So if you want a rich achomo, this is how you do it, okay? So I'm preparing my freezer bags, okay? So I'm just writing what it will be, okay? Even though the way I'll cut it will be different, I can easily identify it, Let's say you have a visitor, you say, "Obi wo fridge ni kona ku yina koche." How would they know? So you have to just, or maybe you're sending my husband Jacob to go and find it. Hey, or the beautiful from Baba, so you have to, yeah, and also to date it so that you know how long it's been in the freezer for. Okay. So on your work surface, you flour it like generously, and then you take a piece and we're going to roll it, okay? And you cut it to your desired shape, okay? You can do it anyhow you want, okay? I've made some savory chips on my channel, this channel before, and it's here. I will link that video for you to see how I usually cut my chips, for it to easily cut it, okay? So I cut it in very long strips and then I fry it, and as it fries, it breaks up into, like, sizable, lengths for ease of munching on it. Okay, yeah, but with this, because I was going to freeze it, and I didn't want it to break up when it's frozen in the freezer. Yeah, people are moving things about in the freezer, and it can just all go very wrong. So I chose this shapes. Okay, so whatever shapes you want, and I'm using this ridge knife. Okay, so it's for chips basically, but I use it for chips, potato chips, that's what I mean. But I use it for this kind of things. I don't hardly cook potato in my house until we anyway, it's what I use it for. So you can use zigzag scissors, you can use normal scissors, it doesn't matter how it looks like. But yeah, so I'll cut all of it, and when I'm done, I'm going to sprinkle it with some flour. Okay, and then I will pop it in my bag. Okay, so first I'll put some of the flour in the bag so that it doesn't stick so much, and then I will sprinkle some onto as you see me do, onto it, and then I just mix it all, make sure that it's lightly coated, not too much, don't go crazy on the flour. Okay, lightly coated, not just say what's the signing, then you pop it in there. Okay, right, then you set it aside, or you just freeze it. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to set it aside, and then we'll start rolling and cutting the achomo, the sweet one. Okay, so lightly or generously flour your worktop. Okay, and then you bring out your dough. So this dough was sitting in the fridge for a bit. Okay, because I wasn't ready, So yeah, you just try. If you have a big surface, huge surface, you can roll it all at once. Good, but it's good to make it in smaller sections. So here I'm going to cut it into 4, right? And then I'm working on one right now. So that's what I'm doing. And this one, because it's very rich, it tends to stick on the work surface. So you need to flour it generously, like a lot of flour. Trust me, nothing will happen to this. Okay, too much plenty flour will do with this one. Okay, yeah. So you roll it out and then you cut it. So what I do is I cut all the rough edges off. Just say all the rough edges off. Then I cut it into smaller, lengths, smaller sizes, like in length, as you see me do. When I finish, I'll turn over, cross, and then cut it. Then it turns into squares. Okay, so with this, we're going to be frying, and when you fry it, they tend to inflate, they tend to expand and become bontos. Okay, so because bontos is fat or big, so you have to have that in mind when you are rolling it, so that you roll it a bit flatter. If you make it thick, then it will be very, very super crumbly, and it is not really palatable to eat. Okay, so the taste will be there, but it's just that that experience that would do too good and you don't really get it. Okay, so yeah, the same thing. I sprinkle some flour on the cut achomo, and then some in the freezer bag, and then I will pop it in the freezer. So what happens it freezes with this one, because of the sugar content and the fat content and everything put together. It freezes, but it doesn't freeze hard like the savory one. Okay, it freezes, but it doesn't freeze too hard, to preserve it nicely for you. So all that you have to do when you are ready, you bring it out. As I've brought it out, as you can see, this one, it's got a bit of frost in it. The salt one, the savory one, has some frost in it, and this one I could squeeze it a little bit. Okay, so this is the day I fried my katia burger. So I thought to use the same oil to fry everything, right? And you just let it sit and thaw. You don't fry it straight from freezer. Okay, let it sit and thaw. When it thaws, it doesn't get wet. Nothing happens to it. It's just like normal. And then you fry it, and when you fry it, just as soon as it browns, you start to take it out, because as you take it out of the oil and you set it on your tissue or your kitchen towel, the residual heat is there, and it still keeps on frying, and it turns it very dark. Okay, and also because of the fat content in it, you don't get a lighter color like some of the chips out there. If you want it a lighter brown color, okay, you reduce the fat content, so you wouldn't get your color will be lighter than mine, what you see here. Okay, but this is how I like mine. I like it a bit rich and a bit, chips. They we add into berry chips. That is a friend is a sample. You have to make it a bit richer. And I'm also saying, Okay, so yeah, that is it done. It's very simple, and you save it and you serve it as normal. It's just that you can prepare this in advance. When you're doing all these things, what happens is what bread, by the time it's the frying time, you are tired. Okay, so I thought I should share this hack with you so that you can do it in advance, store it whenever you are ready, then you fry it with ease. No stress. So I hope you find this recipe useful. Okay, thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like the video, share and subscribe. Okay, and I will see you in the very next one. Bye.